Theme parks are probably one of the most highly requested features to come to The Sims 4. So today I decided that I would build a theme park in The Sims 4. And this was quite difficult because obviously we don't have anything that even resembles a theme park ride in the game, which is why everyone's requesting that we have one. Personally, I don't really understand the desire to have a theme park pack in the game because I don't really know what kind of content we would really have, like gameplay wise. Like I get you would have like some rides that you could have and maybe you'd get to like run your own theme park. But personally I don't really think that would be great for The Sims 4 as a game idea. Because I don't know, at that point just go play like a theme park running game. I don't know. It doesn't really seem something that fun for The Sims 4. But I don't know. Lots of people seem to want it, so I'm sure that if they did decide to make it, it would do quite well as a pack. Yeah, so today that's just what I decided to do. I'd have a go at building one, and this was quite fun, even though I think in practicality, making a theme park wouldn't work super well. So I started off with just the main entrance to the theme park and was doing kind of like where they check people's tickets and decide if they can let them in or not before they finally get let into the theme park and they see like a massive like statue and stuff. So you'll see that's coming up. Right now I'm just getting the the entrance area all set up, and I thought I'd have a fountain because that's quite like grand and exciting to see. I feel like this entrance though wasn't super grand. It wasn't as grand as I would have liked to have made it because obviously I'm working with limited space. The largest lot size in The Sims 4 is 64 by 64. That's the lot size I was working with. And in real life, a theme park would probably span a much greater distance than 64 by 64. So I was kind of making like a mini theme park, but trying to get everything that would fit into a theme park in here. Um, so I had to condense some of the areas, and I think the entranceway probably suffered because of that. So I was trying to conserve space, but I still think it looks quite cool. Like you just saw, I had the statue of this character. I don't really know who it is. Probably the mascot of the theme park. I don't really know. I had a lot of random statues of characters out and about. So they're characters from, I don't know, whatever this theme park is for, I guess. I think my main inspiration for this whole thing was probably Disneyland or Disney World because I feel like that's just the number one theme park in the world. It's kind of like the main one. At least for me, that's what I think of. If I think of a theme park, I think of Disneyland, Disney World. And that's kind of what I was trying to emulate with this build. And as you can see right now, I've kind of moved on to doing like a fake town area, which I feel like a lot of, well, at least Disney World has it, theme parks have like a fake town where you can kind of buy things, and it just is trying to look like some sort of city area. So I decided this would be where people could go and have lunch. I haven't added it in yet, but I will later add in some kind of food stalls that your Sims can then purchase food from and like eat, I guess, have their lunch, because I don't know, I feel like a lot of these theme park places have lots of different areas for you to go have lunch, but because I've got the small space, I thought, oh, I should have one area so that I don't have to waste lots of space all around the park putting in extra areas. And I do put in some food booths around the theme park, but they don't take up much room. So I thought mainly there should be one big lunch area. And as you can see, I've kind of gone back to just going over some of what I've already done, like with the entrance area, adding extra details in. And I do this a lot in this build because it's such a big project. I did it over multiple days, and I just kept thinking of things that I needed to add that I didn't add when I was doing one area, and going back and adding more. And even now, as I'm recording the voiceover and the build is 100% done, I'm now realizing that I've forgotten to add something which I think would be pretty cool. So I completely forgot to add like a slip and slide to the water park area. Spoiler alert, there is a water park area, which I feel like is the most similar thing we have in this game to an actual theme park ride. So I don't know how I forgot to add that. So I will be going in after filming this voiceover and adding in a slip and slide somewhere, which might be a bit annoying because it will probably change how the theme park looks quite a lot, as the slip and slide kind of takes up quite a lot of room. But I'll try and minimize the changes because obviously it won't be in this video, and it won't even be in the screenshots at the end. So I guess you'll have to download this build from the gallery if you want to see how the builds changed when I add the slip and slide in. But yeah, because I think that is actually the closest thing we have in this game to a theme park ride that your Sims can actually use. That with the ice rink or the roller skating rink, I feel, and the only things that could really be similar to a theme park ride. I don't really know. We don't really have anything that kind of meets that category. I guess meets that category. I'm not sure what I'm talking about. Anyway, back to what I'm actually doing in the build. So as you can see right now, I'm putting all the food stores in, and I kind of made a separate like stone area for where everyone would be eating in the floor. And I did this because I was feeling like the tiles I was using were a bit too busy and looked a bit ugly when there were so many of them. And I do actually change what stone I'm using here, but I kept it as a separate stone area because I really did like the tiles, but I thought they looked just really way too busy when just put in a massive like plaza area. So I do change the middle section to be a little easier on the eyes. But I don't know what it was about those tiles. They just reminded me of theme parks, and I don't think like I've actually been to a theme park that had that sort of tile like at all ever. Maybe I have. I'm not really too sure. When I'm at a theme park, I'm not really looking at the floor that much. But yeah, so I thought they kind of gave me the right vibes. Maybe someone watching this will understand what I'm talking about, or maybe none of you have any idea whatsoever. Who knows? But anyway, moving on. When I was building this theme park, it was quite a frustrating journey because I actually have footage of a completely different build that I did, or at least started, and I got about 2 hours into building it when all of a sudden my game completely crashed and just died. And I've never had that happen to me before like that, ever before. Like, this wasn't when the game crashed and you get like, it just like frozen. It was just a complete like meltdown and the game closed. And I've never had that happen before. And I don't even know like what triggered it or anything. It was so frustrating. And I lost 2 hours of work that I hadn't saved at all. And it was honestly the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And I had to restart it all over again. Luckily, though, I did actually have footage of it, of what I'd done. So I could kind of go back and be like, oh, here are some good ideas I had. And I kind of took the ideas that I had that I liked and used them in this version as well. And now you can see I've actually moved on from the food area, and I'm now building something quite exciting. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the build. I decided to build a castle and kind of create a fairy tale area with like the rainbow and just all the cool Get Famous stuff. I used a lot of the set pieces from Get Famous, as you'll probably see throughout this video. And this is definitely my favorite use of the Get Famous pieces because I just created like a really cool looking castle. At least in my opinion, I think it's really cool. And something I did, which I really liked, was I added in the acting position markers from Get Famous for the sword fighting scenes and the death scenes and things onto the castle. Because if you go to Disneyland or Disney World or somewhere like that, a lot of the time they'll have the characters from the movies, like actors playing them, performing scenes and things on the buildings. And so I included that in the castle because you could imagine that some Sims who work here would put on a performance for the Sims that are coming to visit, and I just liked that part of the immersion, I guess. Anyway, when I was building this castle, I was having a lot of trouble with the curved walls because curved walls are so annoying to use. They're really not what they were made out to be at all, and it was quite frustrating because they could have been really cool, but alas, they're just kind of a bit janky in the end. So you can see I'm kind of struggling with the fences, well, the like kind of stone fence thing, putting that in there and trying to make it look good. Also, for some reason, there was a section of the frieze, I think that's what it's called, that wouldn't go across the wall. So I decided I would just cover it up with some plants and hope that no one ever noticed, because sometimes this game is just broken and you've just got to hide everything that goes wrong and hope for the best. So I did that, and I think it actually looked pretty cool in the end. I was struggling trying to come up with what windows to use for the castle because I wanted it to have windows that look nice, but also to kind of look old. And sadly, a lot of the windows we have are at least semi-modern. I mean, we don't have many that look like they date back to the times of castles and pirates. And pirates, what am I talking about? That's a little bit of foreshadowing for the next part of the build. Pirates again, of castles and princesses and like kings and queens and that sort of thing. We don't really have much of that time period. That's kind of reserved for Sims Medieval, which is pretty cool, but not in this game, sadly. So I had to make do with what we have. I think something that a lot of people have predicted is coming soon, though, is a time traveling pack of some sort. I feel like, though, people have been predicting that for years now. It's kind of like fairies, where everyone's been saying it's going to happen for ages, and then eventually it does happen. But did we actually predict it, or has it just been that everyone's been saying it non-stop for about 10 years, and then eventually you're right? Yes, people have been saying that time traveling packs are coming, apparently. And I think that'd be pretty cool, because we have quite a lot of futuristic stuff in the game, but not so much older stuff. So I think I would like to see time traveling come to the game. That could be kind of fun. It would be a bit weird though, but they've done it before in other games, so I think I'd be happy to see that. And I'm just realizing now, as I'm talking about, like, complaining about how there's no old stuff in this game, that there is literally a kit made for building castles in The Sims 4. And I just forgot about it because I refuse to buy kits. So in my mind, it doesn't really exist. And yeah, I don't know. Is that something people still care about? Like, I really don't like kits at all, and I refuse to buy them. But I feel like people have kind of gotten over that sentiment, because I feel like when kits first came out, there was a lot of outrage about it, and no one liked them at all. But now I feel like the rage has died down about it, and now people are kind of chill with it. But personally, I still do not like them. So I still don't plan on ever buying a kit, because they just disagree with me, to be honest. There are too many of them, and it's so much money for not very much at all. So I just can't rationalize buying them at all. I like the other packs though, but kits just don't sit right with me at all. Anyway, now I've moved on from the castle, and I've kind of made like a splash pad zone, which is probably where I will put the slip and slide, and a pirate ship with a pool as well. So this is kind of like connected to the castle because it's kind of like a similar fairy tale vibe, but a little bit different. And I just really like the idea of having a pirate ship, and that being part of the water park area, because theme parks always have a water park area. It's such an important part of the theme park. And in my opinion, water rides are the best kind of rides. They're just so much more fun. And if it's a hot day, which I feel like most people go to theme parks on hot days, then it's just really, really fun to go to the water rides and cool off a little bit. But yeah, so that's just my personal preference when going to theme parks. So I decided to make quite a large water-based area. Yeah, so the pirate ship is one of my favorite parts of this, along with the castle. I just quite like using those Get Famous pieces to make something a bit more creative and more fun. And also getting to use the splash pads was pretty exciting, because I really like the splash pads, and they are quite like theme parky, like theme parks always have splash pads, I guess. And I did also have a pool in there, and I feel like theme parks don't really have pools. That's not really a thing they do very often. I think a lot of them have a pool, but it's not always open, I feel. I don't know. I'm not really an expert on theme parks, but I don't ever remember going to a pool at a theme park, but I think I remember seeing them, but them being closed for some reason. And I feel like it's probably because if there's a pool, you have to hire like a lifeguard, and if a child drowns, which could happen when at a theme park because it's like very busy. Sorry, that got really dark. But I don't know, that can happen. Then it's like such a hassle, I guess. Like it's a big health and safety risk, and a lot of legal stuff. So maybe they don't really like having pools for that reason. But that doesn't happen in The Sims. So I decided we'd have a pool, just because it's fun. And why would you have a pirate ship without water? And for water, you need a pool. So obviously, I included one. Anyway, now you can kind of see, like, I'm doing like a bit of boring bits. I'm just adding like greenery to the area to kind of hide everything, because one thing about theme parks is that when you're in one section of the theme park, you can't see the other section, because it kind of makes it seem like it's bigger, more separated, a bit more fun, mysterious. I don't really know why they do it, but that is something they do. So I was trying to do that, but it's also very tricky to do that in The Sims when you don't have much space, because you've just got to use like loads of trees, but the trees take up way too much room, and it just doesn't really work out. But I think I did quite well at hiding parts of the theme park from other sections. Anyway, this is another really cool bit that I did. I decided to make a life-sized, or well, not life-sized, a giant chessboard, because in Get Together, we have chess piece light things, and they're pretty big, and I always really want to use them, but they're so random, so I feel like I never can. But I thought, oh, theme parks usually have like a kind of section where they have games and stuff, or just like a bit more chill time that's not on the rides. And so I decided I'd make a kind of games area for the children to play in, and the adults, I guess, can get some food because I put a food stool down here. And the main part of this game section was the chessboard, which I was really pleased with. I had to come up with different statues that I could use for the king, the queen, the bishop, all the pieces that aren't the knights and the pawns. But I think I did quite well in selecting some other options, especially for the rooks, like the castles and the end. I really like what I used for them. I used the kind of like wedding statue things, and I think they look really good. The rest of the game section isn't super exciting. I just put some basic games down like ping pong and hopscotch and things, but I think they're quite fun. And I actually go back in later and change the layout of it, because about like 5 minutes from the end of the video, I realize, oh no, I haven't put toilets anywhere. And obviously people need to go to the bathroom. And I hadn't put a bathroom anywhere. So I had to go back through the entire build and make space for some bathrooms so that the Sims who come here don't pee themselves the whole day. So you'll see me doing that a little bit later. Because this was such a big build, it took me absolutely ages to actually just record building it, to like edit the footage down into something that is actually tolerable to watch, and just then to do this recording and stop procrastinating and actually sit down and do the voiceover for this. So it's taken me ages to do this video, like weeks and weeks. And I've become really self-conscious about how little I've been posting recently, because I've been so bad at keeping to a regular posting schedule. Because a while ago, like last year, I was really, really good at posting once a week, which is what I tried to do. But this year I've really like failed at it massively, because I don't know I haven't even been that busy compared to last year, to be honest. I've just been so much worse at getting myself to sit down and do a video than last year. And it really doesn't make any sense, because last year I had some like really important exams, and this year I've had no like exams at all on the same level as what was happening last year. So I don't even know why I've been so bad at recording and editing videos. But I'm really trying to do more work on it now, because now it's the summer, so I have a bit more time to myself, and hopefully I'll be able to make time to do videos, because I really like doing it, and I'm trying to grow the channel a bit more. But I can't do that if I'm just never posting, because I never make time to film videos. So that's just something that I'm trying to be a bit more conscious of. Anyway, I'm now moving on to the kind of sci-fi section of the theme park, which was pretty fun to do. I again used the Get Famous pieces, and I had a lot of fun kind of creating this whole alien themed, superhero themed area. I put the statue of Grogu, Baby Yoda, out and about, and I thought, oh, I sized it up so it looks like it's an actual character that your Sims can go and take a picture with or something. And I put some video game, like the arcade machine and the VR station in there, because that could be something that your Sims interact with. I just thought that would be quite cool. And I put like a UFO statue thing in, and a blue police box, because that's kind of like a reference to Doctor Who, which is all like sci-fi. And I just thought that was quite a fun thing to have in this build. I feel like one main thing that I've missed out of this build, which is in every theme park, is obviously the hotel, because theme parks like to make as much money out of you as possible, so they'll charge you loads and loads of money to stay in their special hotel. But even though it's super expensive and probably not worth it, the one time I have spent in a time in a hotel for a theme park was in Legoland, and that was really, really fun. I remember when I was little doing it, and I had a lot of fun in the hotel because they have like themed rooms, and that's really exciting. So maybe I'll do a second video where I make the hotel for this theme park, but I feel like I'll have to wait for hotels to actually come to The Sims 4 for that, because that is another highly requested feature, which I feel like we probably will get eventually, unlike theme parks, which I'm a little bit more uncertain about. I feel like maybe we'll get them one day, but I don't know. With hotels, though, I'm pretty certain we will eventually get them because people have been wanting them for years, absolutely ages. I remember back with Island Living, people thought we were getting them. With Snowy Escape, people thought we were getting them. I was actually convinced that it was going to be like a secret thing that was in Snowy Escape, that we were going to get like hotels, but we didn't at all. And you can kind of fake them with For Rent now, but it's not really the same thing. So hopefully we do actually one day get a system where you can run hotels and stay in a hotel, so that I can make that video to pair with this one, because that would be really fun to make a theme park hotel. I really like that idea. And I guess even though we don't have theme parks explicitly in The Sims 4, you could actually make a theme park, which I did, and make it functional and have your Sims own it and charge Sims to come visit it and use the facilities, because you can use the businesses and hobbies system where you like make it a business and you charge people to come to the lot, so they kind of buy a ticket in a way, and you can have them charged to use certain items as well. But they don't really do that at theme parks. They usually have like a all-inclusive ticket, and you can buy like queue jumps and stuff, but I think that's a bit too complicated for The Sims. But yeah, so we could actually make this a usable theme park, which is quite nice. I actually didn't have businesses and hobbies at the time of recording this video, so I didn't put any functionality in to this build, but I think it's quite easy to convert just a general lot into a business when you have the pack, just to literally switch the lot type, which you actually can't do on the lot that I built this on, which is the Myshuno Meadows Park lot, because for some reason that's like a special lot that you can't change the type of. I don't really know why that is, but I respect it. But yeah, so I actually couldn't do that if you kept it on this lot. You'd have to move it somewhere else, which is a bit annoying because I feel like this lot was quite perfect for a theme park. But if you really wanted to make it a functional theme park, you could by just moving it somewhere else. Maybe to the 64x64 in Brindleton Bay, for instance. Right now, I'm working on doing a kind of hedge decoration centerpiece thing for your Sims to look at as they walk through the theme park, and just they can have a look at it because it's kind of pretty. I don't really know. I feel like a lot of theme parks have these random displays out and about, and obviously I couldn't include that many because I'm limited on space again. That's popped up again, that limitation, which is very frustrating, but it's just part of the game, I guess. I would love to see in a future pack, maybe if they did a theme park pack, an option to have really massive lots, like, I don't know, 100 by 100, which would be crazy, or something even more, because theme parks take up lots of room, and it would be great to be able to have the option to use really massive lots. But then when else do you use them? I feel like for the average gameplay session, you're not really making use of lots that large, and it would be kind of annoying to have something that big, and also really laggy, so there'd be a lot of performance issues. I don't know, so it probably wouldn't happen. I would love to see, though, open neighborhoods, and I feel like they won't ever be able to update The Sims 4 to give us open neighborhoods because that's such a massive overhaul. Like, they'd have to change completely how they've redone the game, and I would love them to do that. In my ideal world, they would give us open neighborhoods, which, if you haven't heard of this term before, I don't know why you wouldn't have, because it's quite a prevalent idea, I think, in the Sims community, at least nowadays, which is an open neighborhood would be like an open world where there are no load screens, except it's limited to the neighborhood in The Sims 4, because Sims 4, the way the map works, you have neighborhoods. So it would be like, to get from lot to lot in the neighborhood, you don't have to see a loading screen. You would just click like, oh, travel to this place, and it would just like open it up, or it would just be open anyway. And you wouldn't have a loading screen. You would just be able to access the lot, and I would love that. And I feel like it would be the perfect middle ground between open world and closed world, because open world has so many flaws. Like, it's very laggy, and it means that the world seems quite empty a lot of the time because the Sims become concentrated in one area and they don't spread out evenly. They don't disperse across all the lots in the open world, which is kind of frustrating. Whereas with closed worlds, it's much easier for the performance, but also it's just really frustrating as a player because you have to go through a loading screen just to access your neighbor's house, which seems so close, but is yet so far away. And it's very annoying and very disheartening when you're playing. So it would be such a good compromise because it would be much better for the performance, but also so much less annoying from the player perspective, because I think I would be fine with having to use a loading screen to travel from like Oasis Springs to Willow Creek, for instance, or like between the neighborhoods in Oasis Springs, because they seem far away actually in game, whereas within the neighborhoods they seem so close together. So it drives me crazy when I have to go through a loading screen just to pop over to next door's house, you know? It's very annoying. So ideally, we would be able to have open neighborhoods sometime in the future, but I really don't think it's possible for the game that we have currently. Like, how would they do that? It would be such a massive overhaul. I feel like it'd be very tricky for them to change just how the game functions on that basic level. But I would love to see it. If they were working on that, I would be so happy. So I don't know, fingers crossed, maybe sometime in the future it will happen, because I mean, never say never. At this point in the build, I decided to go back and work on the pirate ship again. I decided to make it kind of sandy, and I felt that fit better because if your child, for instance, fell off the pirate ship which they're climbing on, they're not going to hurt themselves as much. So that's kind of like a practical thing in the real world. And also I think it just looks a bit more realistic when you're thinking about like a pirate ship area. I put some palm trees in, I added an X marks the spot. I also put some rocks in so that it looks like the pirate ship has crashed into the rocks. And I also put in the kind of pirate ship playset thing, because then your Sims can actually interact with it and play. I also put in some ball pits for the toddler Sims because that's quite like a cute thing to have. And I just tried to make it look a bit more fun for your Sims to actually use and not just all for decoration, which I feel like I did kind of embrace more with this build. It is all quite a lot for show with this and not really much that your Sims can actually interact with, sadly. But that's just because there isn't really many items in this game. There aren't really many items in this game that your Sims could interact with that kind of fit with a theme park. But I think I've kind of balanced it quite well. I'm now adding more like scenery to the area so that it's kind of a bit more hidden from all of the different sections, as I mentioned before. And now I'm actually adding the roller skating rink into the build because I had this open space and I was considering what to do with it. Like, I could have done another decoration area, but I felt it was a bit too close to the last one, and also just a bit of a waste of space when I could add something more fun in and more useful and practical. And I remembered the roller skating rink. That's quite a cool thing to have, so I added that in as well. And I was trying to like figure out how to make it usable whilst also kind of doing the keeping it hidden thing with the trees. But I decided, you know, like, it's still usable if you have those two entrances available, so I just covered the rest of it with trees. I then went back and into the castle and I realised, oh, I've got the dance floor, which your Sims can dance in, but I don't have any music. And in The Sims, you need music to dance to, and in real life too as well. So I put a music player in there and just kind of tried to hide it so that it's not super obvious. I'm now going in and adding benches and bins to the whole area and some food stalls. I do later go in and add bathrooms, as I mentioned before, but I'm just adding all those practical elements in that you kind of need. Some lights, because it's important to make sure that the theme park is lit up at night, as like when you go to a theme park, you're usually there for most of the day, and at the end of the day, guess what? It gets dark. So you don't want to be stumbling around in the darkness when you're meant to be enjoying the theme park. So you need it to be pretty well lit up, which is why I put lights underneath all the hedges. And whilst they didn't really illuminate the surrounding area, I think it did contribute to making the whole theme park a bit brighter. I put street lamps in and string lights, and I was just hoping that this would make it a little bit easier for your Sims to see when it gets dark. This was all just me adding the finishing touches to the build, And I was thinking that I was done actually when I was lighting it all up, when I realized that there's actually quite a crucial part of the build that I was missing, which is how the employees actually get from place to place. Because I've put little markings down in the sci-fi area, the pirate ship area, and the castle area for the employees to kind of like perform, act, and usually in theme parks you have the characters walking around, but I didn't actually have anywhere for them to go. Like, are they just walking in with the visitors? Probably not. So I actually decided to have a secret underground employee area where they can kind of navigate through the tunnels around the park. Because I feel like that's what they do in real life, to be honest. I mean, like where I work, there's an underground area where you can kind of move through, and I just work in a supermarket. So I feel like it's not much of a stretch for them to have that at a theme park because it's, I don't know, it just makes sense. Maybe that's just me being, maybe where I work is just a bit weird, but I'm pretty sure that's industry standard, you know? Like, I don't know. Anyway, right now, hopefully you can see I'm adding like a little screen backdrop to the windows in the sci-fi area because you might see it in the screenshots at the end, I decided to use these green screens to make it look like they're flying through space, and I thought that was really fun. But anyway, now I've moved past that and I'm actually working on the secret underground area for the employees where I have storage room, a dressing room, some bathrooms, and obviously the staff room where they can take a break. I think I made it quite a nice staff room, you'll see, because there's like a TV and stuff, but obviously it's underground, which is kind of just a bit sad and depressing. There's no windows, so I feel like it kind of balances out. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of purposely made the underground area a little bit ugly because when people are building these sorts of things that are not meant to be seen by the guests, the customers, and only really seen by the employees, they don't really put as much work into making them look pretty, and they just kind of go for the like bare bones, like absolute bare minimum of what needs to be there. And sometimes they make it look a little bit nice, but usually they're not really spending all that much money in making it pretty because it's not like they're making any money themselves off what happens down here. Like no one's paying to go see the employee staff room, are they? So it didn't really matter as much that it wasn't super pretty down here. Yeah, so I just kind of lit it up and made the tunnels in between the ticket stands and the kind of hidden building from the town area. Then I decided to add some bathrooms into the actual theme park because I realized when I was thinking, oh, I'll add some employee bathrooms in. Wait a moment, there's no customer visitor bathrooms at all. So I had to go through the park and find space for the bathrooms, which I think I did quite successfully because again, the park's not very big, so I only really needed 2 or 3 bathrooms. Also, for some reason, I couldn't build the basement in certain areas of the like underground area. It was to do with the fountain messing it up. I didn't really know what was happening. It was very confusing to me, but I just kind of worked past it and just moved where I planned to put everything to outside of the circle that I created. For some reason, it just messed with the fountain. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about here. Maybe if you've used basements with a fountain before, you'll understand how like it's a bit weird and it doesn't let you really put all the rooms where you want to put them. It was quite frustrating. But yeah, so I had to make do with what I had, and I did the employee bathroom, just quite a simple place with like a load of cubicles, and the employee staff room where I had some tables where you can eat, a kitchen, like a nice sofa for them to sit down at, and a TV, which I thought was quite fancy because I mean, I don't know, I feel like a lot of employee staff rooms don't really have TVs because I don't know, you don't really have time when you're on your break to like sit down, watch TV. I don't know. And I also realized I need to put some vending machines around the park because they've got to make money from you. And I didn't have a gift shop, sadly, because there was no room. That could be another thing I add when I do the hotel, a gift shop. So you need to be able to buy food and simi capsules and things from the vending machines. Like, it's quite important. And then once I finished with the staff room, I got to move on to what I thought was the most important part of the employee area, the most exciting part, definitely, which was the dressing room. Because obviously, if the employees are getting dressed up as the characters from, I don't know, some made up TV show, they need somewhere to actually get changed and to get into character, I guess. So I had to create a whole dressing room, and this was really fun because I got to put the kind of the makeup chairs, the clothes storing racks and stuff from Get Famous down, the dressing up, like, I don't know what they're called, but platform things. And I just loved doing that. It was just really exciting. And then towards the end, I added in some mannequins as well, which I put costumes in. So I went, after doing the actual build, I went into CAS and I created some costumes for the employees to wear when they're out and about. And that was really fun to do because I had to go in and look at all the costume ideas there were. There were so many ideas I had, and I had to narrow it down to just 4. Like, I think I only had 4, which was pretty tricky because there was just so many cool things I could do. And it was actually quite tricky to actually put the clothes on the mannequin in this build because you have to do it a kind of roundabout way, because you can only dress mannequins that your sim actually owns, and obviously because this lot, you can't change the lot type. I couldn't change it to a residential to move the sims in, so I had to go to a different lot, have the sims dress the mannequin there, and then I uploaded the mannequin to the gallery and had to download it from there to actually put it into the build, which was a weird way to do it, but it worked in the end, and you'll see it in the screenshots. And we're kind of coming to the end of the video, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, leave a comment, maybe subscribe, maybe share the video with a friend. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!